All right, finishing up that hour I did on eugenics earlier, I want to ask you, the listeners, the viewers, people seeing this for the first time, do you like having your destiny controlled? Do you like a scientific dictatorship of social engineers putting sterilants to sterilize you in the water, other chemicals that cause cancer, on record saying they're doing it to sterilize you and euthanize you and kill you in a collectivist socialist society, like the science fiction movie Logan's Run? When you hit 30, they send you up the carousel to be blasted into bits, and it's a spectacle to the rest of the slaves. Have you accepted this mindset? I would say at least half the public I talk to, especially know-it-all, stupid, buck-toothed white yuppies. So I guess Sotomayor's right in a way. That, everybody knows there's too many people and we got to sterilize and get rid of the poor. I don't like paying for them in welfare. That welfare was done by the eugenicists to get the, quote, undesirables on government payroll so they could institutionalize their kids and sterilize their kids. That's what Planned Parenthood was set up for. A fact. But my question to you is, just overall, how do you think I should approach this? How do you think we should approach this? How do you think we should start an organization, write more articles, promote Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com? That isn't enough. Make films like Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. I mean, what do I do knowing from United Nations Biological Diversity Assessments and Presidential Decision Directives and State Department Memorandum 200 and the textbook written by John P. Holdren, Obama's science czar, and one of Bush's top advisors co-wrote it, Paul Ehrlich. I mean, this isn't just another story. Like, Alex was on air talking about the pirates in the Mediterranean, or Alex was on the air talking about the rainforest, or Alex was on air talking about Sonia Sotomayor wanting our guns. I mean, there is a scientific dictatorship being set up. The Pentagon brags that it's a godlike, that's their quote, it's back in the news today. In fact, put that on screen, that godlike control piece from the Pentagon, with satellites and tracking and cell phone and surveillance and smart dust and RFID, tracking everywhere we go, everything we do. The Pentagon puts out public white papers saying we won't even need troops soon. We'll just need technicians to oversee the robotic factories that are going to build combat droids and remote control AI aircraft to take on the population. Everything's being taken out of our hands. We are going into a engineered society. And you can debate whether you want to be in an engineered global system, a global government, but we're not being asked if we want to be in that. And there's not a big public debate about it. And then when you look at who's running it, it's a bunch of control freaks who are into reducing the world's population numbers, and they admit in their own documents, for control and power and domination over society. And then meanwhile, we have this denial. Here's the story. Liberal website claims source of Holdren controversy is radical right wing. And they call us black helicopter kooks and say we made up the Holdren thing. There's no book. There's no document. None of it is real. I'll put it over here. They're basically saying none of it is real and we're just making all this up. And that gets into the whole other issue of what is this, mass mental illness? I mean, we've got all these UN documents, all these public statements, all the climate czars and the environmental cops in England and the U.S. saying we need to only have one child and the carbon footprint's too big, and saying that only essential travel is going to be allowed. I mean, a huge neo-feudal straitjacket is coming down on us, and when we source his book, we have scans of it and photos of it, And they just say it doesn't exist. We're liars. Kind of like if I put a clip up of Al Gore calling for world government run by environmentalists, which is what Obama's science czar says, to a global police force to carry out the sterilizations, to carry out the CPS taking everyone's children, to carry out the euthanasia. I mean, it's everywhere. And do these fools, I don't know what it is about kind of the Star Trek atheist type, because I see them all over YouTube, saying there's no New World Order, there's no eugenics plan, but then they'll add, oh, but eugenics is a good idea. You know, they get off on claiming like they're the priest or the witch doctors, that they know how the world works and they're going to decide. And I'm not even attacking atheists here. It's just always atheists I see promoting eugenics. They'll say it doesn't exist out of one side of the mouth, and then out of the other side say it's a good idea, though. And then you've got Ruth Bader Ginsburg running around saying the same thing. And I covered all these news articles in the New York Times and everywhere else. I got two of them right here where they're saying having a family isn't good. This article says having children makes you unhappy. Titled, Does Having Children Make You Unhappy? And then this other one I showed earlier says, break up with your husband, don't be married. This is the system wanting you totally isolated, and where only the state is your family. And they write textbooks saying this. I mean, it's so diabolical that we've given the world over to these horrible people and let them run our lives. And we write all these articles saying it's bipartisan. Both Republican and Democrat leaders are eugenicists. And we write articles saying it's not partisan. And so then we get called right-wing people, and they link to our article that's against partisanship, trying to explain, instead of getting caught up like in a washing machine, going in circles, arguing about left and right, that all that is a false projection, a false reality, a false template to confuse the whole issue where people can't even discuss issues. I'm like, Sotomayor wants our guns. Here's her quotes. She doesn't believe in the Second Amendment. And you're like, oh, you don't like Mexicans or you don't like Puerto Ricans. I'm like, no, I don't care about that. She's a control freak, New World Order person. See, it's all about, well, it's a woman. Oh, well, Obama's black, so you can't, I still get dozens of emails a day about the Obama deception saying you just don't like black people. When the whole film is black people speaking out against him, saying, look, he's a puppet, he's a front man for the New World Order. So they have white supremacists come out and attack Obama. Now all blacks will support him no matter what he does. Just like they have the left, fully discredited, attacks Bush, so then right-wingers all support Bush no matter what, because it's groupthink. We're all in these little groups, and that's the great game. That's what these eugenicists are doing. That's how they're controlling us. That's how they're manipulating our society. And it's all socioeconomic. It's all sociology. It's all psychology. It's all anthropology. I've got a declassified public CIA document they admit is theirs about how to torture people, how to break their will, how to control societies. And it's exactly what they're doing through our media. I have a 2004 Army manual about how to stage terror attacks. They teach Army captains in black ops how to stage terror and blame it on people. I mean, this is standard procedure, and I can't get the public to admit that's going on. But when you realize they've done thousands and thousands of chemical, biological, and radiological tests inside the United States against the American people, against troops, against minorities, against women, against foster children, they've killed U.S. citizens thousands of times. They've killed troops on record. Again, the film Endgame documents it. The free bibliography at whatistheendgame.com has everything in the film there posted as government links and documents. Go look at it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Verify this for yourself. And then ask yourself, do you like the government putting chemicals in the water that sterilize you, greatly reduce your fertility? They've got to do it incrementally. They're testing it right now. They admit they are. Do you like the sperm count dropping by almost 90%, 87% in Europe and the United States? Do you like the fact that in water supplies that aren't even connected to sewer runoff, they're finding high levels of Prozac-type drugs and birth control? It's being added. Do you like the fact that White House technology czar, science czar, is calling for this? Folks, they're already doing it, just like they were already chemtrailing us. And then the exact recipe, the exact cocktail we documented that's been sprayed on us, that's being sprayed, they now admit, oh, yeah, we're doing the global spraying. That was all just testing. See, exactly what we said they were putting in the water from the test that had been done by universities and even mainstream news, but they never say why it's there. They just say, isn't this funny?